Bruh, why you don't answer no grown up what? You say yes, ma'am. You want some ice cream?
I don't have any money.
So what that mean?
I can't get one because I don't have any money.
That's why I'm calling you back, because I was finna give you something.
I don't know if my parents are...
Gonna allow you to have it?
No, it's not... I can have ice cream. I don't think my parents can trust me when I said an ice cream truck gave me an ice cream for free.
Oh. You want to go get them?
I don't know if they'll come because I have my sisters to watch over, so not really.
So can you get one? Huh?
Coming out, and
she coming out?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You ran for that ice cream, huh? I saw you pouting, that's why I stopped you. You was looking so disappointed.
Yeah.
She thought she had the upper hand until Pete Hegseth flipped the script with one epic line.
You chose Pride Month to direct the Navy to rename a ship named for Navy veteran Harvey Milk. This committee will continue to pursue serious work in the interests of American national security, and I ask you to choose to join us in that endeavor.
Senator, we're not interested in naming ships after activists. That's the stance we're taking.
Eagles don't fight snakes on the ground. The way an eagle attacks the snake is an eagle understands that if you fight the snake on the ground, the snake will always win. Because the snake is comfortable on the ground. The eagle will take the snake out of its comfortable place, throw it in the air. The snake has no stamina. The snake has no ground. And the eagle will throw the snake in the air. The snake cannot fight back and grab it again. Because in the sky, the snake is weak, useless, and vulnerable. When you take prayer, when you take your problem into the prayer realm, you're literally taking that snake into the air. And that's what happens when you pray and fast. You're literally taking those issues into a spirit realm where you will have upper hand through Jesus, through the Lord, by breaking those strongholds. You might not see the visible results right away, but those things shift in the realm of the spirit.
You think a man cheating depends on the woman?
Yeah.
I don't think that at all.
No matter what you think. How come you think, where do you think the phrase happy wife, happy life comes from?
Yeah, but I think men, people that cheat.
Okay, so I think there's three types of cheaters. There's a serial cheater, the James Bond cheater, and then the guy that's forced to cheat.
Okay, what is a James Bond cheater and how are you forced to cheat?
James Bond cheater is, I do everything right. I'm in Rio, I see a little thing, boom, boom, boom. Nope, nobody sees me. Boom, boom, boom. I come back home to my normal life.
Okay.
All right.
You smooth, you slick with it.
Smooth with it, yeah.
Okay.
The guy that's forced to cheat is I've been on the road in a week and I come here and you'd be like, I got to do my podcast. That's the first night. I can't. I got to make it like you just 4 or 5 days in a row, you're not taking care of your man, and then he does what he does.
Oh. So then you step out.
And then there's a serial cheater, the guy that just don't whatever. But yes, men can. I think it depends on that. Women run the world. Y'all just don't know it.
So you think?
What's your opinion? Serial cheater, yeah, I get. The other ones, I don't know about. Well, okay, I do kind of get. Sometimes I do feel like he's forced to cheat, but at the same time, you can leave. So I don't understand why people just don't choose to leave. But let me know what y'all think in the comments.
ADHD?
Yeah, what is it exactly? Is it real?
So tuning out is not a disease. So let me ask you a question, if I may.
Okay.
If I were to stress you right now, create stress, emotional difficulty or tension for you right now, what would be your options of dealing with that, of dealing with me? What would be your options?
I could either get upset or I could leave.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You could fight back, flight or fight, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
But what if you didn't have those options?
Yeah, then you're stuck.
And now what does the brain do when you're stuck like that?
It gets distracted.
It tunes out.
Yeah, it tunes out. You want to do other things, think about other things.
In other words, it's a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
But parents are stressed. The child absorbs the stress. What can they do with it? They tune out. And that tuning out thing is programmed into the brain. And then 10 years later or 50 years later, we say, you got this disease. No, you don't. You've got a coping mechanism that's no longer working for you.
What does it mean?
How many of you have ADHD and agree or understand what he's saying? I know a few people with ADHD, and they've pretty much explained it the same way. But let me know you guys' opinion in the comment.
Watch how she beautifully explains this concept.
Yeah, it makes sense. So am I spiritually dead, you think? Like I'm going to hell, you think?
Well, let me explain it in a way that really helped me kind of understand the spiritually dead thing. So, a glove was made in the image of a hand, right?
Yeah.
The 5 fingers, so that a hand can fit inside the glove. And with the hand, the glove is useful. You can use it and it has a purpose. But without the hand, the glove is lifeless.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Surprisingly, it does.
Okay, so track with me. In the same way, we were created in the image of God, right? So that God can live inside of us. And with God, we have purpose. We're filled with his power, we're filled with his strength. But without God, we're spiritually dead. Does that make sense?
I think it does, surprisingly. So you're saying I was made in the image of God so that God can live inside of me and give me purpose.
Exactly, yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard somebody break it down like that before.
Watch how she beautifully.
That was dope. That was dope. Very well explained.
My 9-year-old daughter wants to know why our moon doesn't have a name. I'm with her. Why doesn't our moon have a name?
Our moon does have a name.
What's our moon's name?
So all the planets are named for Latin gods. So you would expect any name for Earth or the moon to be Latin. And so
you would expect.
You would expect. So the Earth, Moon, and Sun combo have Latin corresponding names, and we can use them in my field. Everyone will know what you're talking about.
What's the name of the moon?
So the name of Earth is Terra.
Terra.
The name of the moon is Luna.
Luna. Oh.
Yeah. And the name of the sun is Sol.
Oh.
But why is there no verse in the Bible about dating?
Prior to 120 years ago, no one in the history of the world ever went on a date. You don't have a single biblical example of a date. It was arranged marriage. There were times that you would meet your spouse at the altar. Like, where does physical attraction fit into that narrative? Like meeting your spouse at the altar. You can see how far we've come in 2025, where we hold physical attraction to the highest standard. Dating entered the English language as a euphemism for a guy was talking on a radio show, and he was talking about his girlfriend, and he said she started taking dates with other guys, meaning she was sleeping with other men. And to go on a date meant to exchange sexual favors for an experience. Now consider how we date. They exchange sexual favors for an experience, like show me a good time, take me to a great dinner. So I'm not trying to kiss it goodbye, but I do think we need to redeem it. And what dating needs to be for believers is a pathway to a promise.
So why is
y'all think we should go back to arranged marriages? I think I can do it. I think I could do it.
Have you seen this?
Here are 5 signs you are dangerously anointed. Number 1, facing unrelenting challenges that cause you to want to give up, cause you to want to settle, cause you to want to go back to your old ways. Don't do it. Number 2, you carry a deep spiritual awareness. You know what's going on, and it's not just what we see. You have a heightened discernment. You can read the energy in a room. You've only been there for 2.7 seconds. That is a gift. Number 3, you inspire unexplainable reaction from others. Your light either draws people in like a magnet or repels people from you like you got the bubonic plague. It's your light. Your light either attracts people or irritates demons. Number 4, a burning desire within you that you cannot quench to fulfill a higher purpose on this earth. And number 5, God's favor and provision follow you, even in the valley of the shadow of death.
Subscribe for more content.
Hey y'all, did y'all catch this in Indiana last night? But before we watch this video, let's see what led up to this event, y'all. Check this out. So Indiana experienced some crazy looking clouds yesterday, low to the ground. Look at this, you guys. You would think we're in another dimension. And you can hear the sirens in the background. And then around 5 p.m. that afternoon, a random tornado spawned out of nowhere with heavy rain following. Look at this, y'all. This guy literally almost documents his death as this large tree falls over right next to him.
Document my death with this one. Holy crap. Oh my God.
How did he know, y'all? He literally almost met his death. The tree about to fall on him, y'all. Now back to this Dragon Ball Z Saiyan Saga capsule spaceship that was found in the middle of Indianapolis after this tornado spawned, y'all. Look at this, y'all.
So this thing fell in a neighborhood last night. Luckily, it missed all the houses and cars and people. Everyone was safe. Does anyone know what it is?
Y'all, we're literally in a cosmic movie, man. The Saiyans are here. We about to activate. I'm telling y'all, man, this is literally the universe speaking to us. And then Washington, D.C. is shut down. You know that, right? Let me know what you guys think about this video. Let's get this shift. Peace in. Hey, y'all.
Anybody know what that is? I have no idea. And I used to work with all types of, I used to work, I specialize in logistics, and I work for aircrafts and engineers, and I have no idea what that is. I've never seen that before. Never seen that before.
We're in an area that traditionally is called the tombs of Joseph of Arimathea. And inside of this little cave over here are some tombs exactly what you would have seen in the first century. And this is the type of tomb that Jesus would have been buried in. Between Friday and Sunday, there is almost a tangible silence. Silence can be scary, you know? We want action. We want someone to say something, do something. And when we find ourselves in silence, we don't know what to do. We're so used to doing something, you know, and I can solve this. And the church teaches us that on Saturday, this is when Jesus descends into Hades and he releases the righteous captive. This is happening during silence. A lot's happening. And I think that's something that you and I and all who are participating with us need to remember, is that even in the silence, God is doing tremendous things in our lives. We are baptized. That means that you have faith, you have hope, and you have charity. He's equipped you to deal with the silence.
This girl just posted that she was shopping at Walmart at like 7 o'clock at night, and this employee came up to her and said, "Hey, what kind of car do you have?" And she was like, "A Toyota." And he said, "Oh, is it silver? And is this the license plate?" He was on the phone with somebody and they read the license plate, and she was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Okay, your car's getting towed." And she was like, "Why?" And he said, "We're just leaving some spots for premium members of Walmart or something." And he was like, "Well, they're gonna tow it." And then the guy on the phone said, "It's unlocked, I'm just gonna steal it." And the guy was like, "He's kidding, like he's not gonna steal it." And she was like, "What is going on?" "All right, fine, we won't tow it." He was like, "But you're really cute." And then started flirting with her, and she went to customer service. The manager comes forward and he said, "That's not one of our employees. They have the vest with the name tag and they're trying to lure girls to their car." And he told her to take the receipt to open the door, because they've had multiple occasions where girls reach for their handle and they pass out because there's something laced in the handle. So he said, "Let's search the car." And it was under her hood. They put an air tag. This girl just posted.
See, this is getting way out of hand. I just don't. Stuff like that pisses me. I'm all spitting because it pisses me off. I cannot stand stories like that. I just, it does. It pisses me off. Y'all be safe out there. And not even just the women, men too, men and children. Y'all be safe out there.
Do you believe in God?
Every description of God that I've heard holds God to be all-powerful and all good. And then I look around and I see a tsunami that killed 250,000 people in Indonesia. If there is a God, the God is either not all-powerful or not all good.
An atheist will come and attack a Christian with this common question. You, Christian, believe that your God is all love and all powerful. Okay, then how come this God of yours, who is all love and all powerful, allowing for evil to infiltrate and expand so rapidly on a global level? So I'll ask you, my dear friend, when you assume there is evil, aren't you also assuming there is good? How do you know it's night if you've never seen the day? Well, when you are assuming there is also good, aren't you also assuming there is a moral law? So since you're assuming there is a moral law, aren't you also assuming there is a moral lawgiver, which is God, whom you are denying? Since you're denying the existence of God, since there is no moral lawgiver, there is no moral law. Since there is no moral law, there is no good. Since there is no good, there is no evil. Then what's your question?
Y'all, you can't make this up. You can't make it up.
We're celebrating the day 160 years ago when enslaved people in Galveston, Texas, finally learned they had been freed. Lots of other people knew, but they didn't know in Galveston. And here we are, 160 years later.
If you see Whoopi when you die, you went to hell. There were enslaved blacks in Galveston, Texas, that did not know they were officially free. Although other blacks told them that they were free, they didn't believe them. In 1865, they were officially told that they were free, and that's why they celebrate Juneteenth. However, they were not the only slaves. What they fail to mention, because they don't want this to be a part of history, the Choctaw Indian had not released their slaves. But they don't want you to know that the natives own slaves, and they don't want you to know that that was the actual last remnant of slaves released, is when the Choctaw released their slaves a year later, which were the final remnant of black slaves released. That's why it's so disingenuous for them to pick June 19th, 1865, when it probably would be March something, 1866. But they cannot have in history that Indians were the last to release black people from slavery, because they can't blame it all on white people.
What are y'all thoughts? Let me hear them.
Listen to what this Native American has to say about Jesus.
I didn't want to hear nothing about Jesus. Matter of fact, I got so radical that I would tell all my Native American brothers that Jesus Christ wasn't for the natives. And so I did that for about 12 years. And so finally I just said to the Lord, I said, well, actually it wasn't to the Lord. It was to the one that we pray to in the Native religion. We call him grandfather. And I remember I said, so if you will put me on the path that you want me on, then I will leave it to the best of my ability. And for the first time in my life, I heard the voice of God. And what he said was, do you really believe in me? If you really believed in me, you'd believe in Jesus, because I am Jesus.
Where does my support for Israel come from? Number one, because biblically we're commanded to support Israel. But number two,
Hold on.
I'm not holding on.
Hold on. You're a senator, and now you're throwing out theology, and I am a Christian, and I am allowed to weigh in on this. We are commanded as Christians to support the government of Israel?
We are commanded to support Israel. And what
does that mean, Israel?
We're told those who bless Israel will be blessed.
But what, hold on, define Israel. This is important. Are you kidding? This is a majority Christian country.
Define Israel? Do you not know what Israel is? That would be the country you've asked like 49 questions about.
So that's what Genesis, that's what God is talking about.
The nation of Israel, yes.
And so is that the current borders, the current leadership? He's talking about the political entity called Israel?
He's talking about the nation of Israel. Yeah, nations exist, and he's discussing a nation. A nation was the people of Israel.
Is the nation
They're the descendants
God's
of
referring
Abraham.
to in Genesis, is that the same as the country run by Benjamin Netanyahu right now?
Yes.
It is.
And I'm really happy he said that, because when you hear it, you realize how ridiculous it sounds. Even if you're not following the theology, if you don't identify as a Christian, you realize that you have a senator that is sitting across saying that his number one reason, he didn't say one of the reasons, he said my number one reason that I support Israel is because the Bible commands me to do so. And just so you know, the Bible does not command, and this is what Tucker Carlson is getting to in that clip, it absolutely does not command you to support the modern state of Israel. Like Genesis is pointing to the modern 1948 created state of Israel, and you must support it, despite the fact that it is very much involved in what can only be described as demonic behavior since its creation, right? And so you're going to ignore every other biblical passage. You're going to misinterpret this one. It's a dispensationalist heresy, which was factually funded by the World Zionist Congress. And we can do another episode on that as I present to you guys all of the evidence that what it guided the notations. This really stems from the Schofield Bible, the heresy of the Schofield Bible. Schofield himself was an absolute fraud who got funded and was overseas and alleges that he wrote all of these notes in the Bible and is telling people how to read their Bibles. The first time that notations were put underneath the passages. So this is what Genesis says, and this is what it means. And this is how this heresy arrived in America. Then somehow this guy is able to, becomes the most printed book, and Oxford Press gets behind it because like a random pastor. You get the idea here. It was very much a funded effort to have Christians misunderstand the Bible. And Ted Cruz is one of these Christians.
Where does my support for
I gotta admit, for a long time I did not like Candace, and that was my own ignorance, only because I did not like Trump and still don't like Trump. So, but she's very intelligent. Like the more I had to sit back and listen to a lot of stuff that she says, and again, Candace, I'm sorry, like that was my ignorance, but like the more I listen to her, the girl is very brilliant. She's very smart, and I love that she commented on this topic, because a lot of people, when they think about Israel, they think about today's Israel, but they're not thinking about the biblical, the true Israelites. And I think that's what the issue is, or the conflict is today, in regards to Christianity. But she, very well said, Candace, very well said.
Telling you, I didn't expect to see what I saw in this video. Helping him down the fence.
Hold
Wow.
A gun!
Oh my God.
See? Looks like he gets something, he picks it up, he throws it, he picks something up.
Oh!
Now, in my opinion, I think that this is justified. Some people will argue that it's not because the nuance of him throwing the stuff over the fence. You could say the cop was looking at him throw it over the fence, but the cop don't have to guess. He don't know if the guy had another gun on him. I mean, all of these things goes into the totality of circumstances, which is where is the guy a deadly threat to him or somebody else in the public? The answer is yes. If you got a gun, try to throw the gun away to escape, then when you get up from the cop, you run towards the gun to pick it up to do what? How did the cop know that he don't have another gun? How did the cop know he's not a gun stashed over there? The guy was a present threat, and therefore the use of deadly force was reasonable. And the cop shot him, and he dropped, and the cop stopped shooting. So the cop didn't just shoot him to kill him. The cop shot him until he was eliminated as a threat.
Whew, let me know what y'all think. I was not expecting that, but I get both sides, because in the heat of the moment, you don't know if the guy got another gun on you, on him. So would you? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That was kind of scary. That one surprised me. I don't know what I probably would have did the same thing the cop did, but that's me being scary. So let me know what y'all think.
My mama told me about a master that almost starved his slaves to death. One time, he had 7 hogs, fat and ready for hog killing time. But the day before them hogs were supposed to be killed, something awful happened to every last one of them. A field hand found them and come running to tell the master, the hogs is dead, master, the hogs is dead, and we ain't got no more meat on the plantation. When the master got to where the hogs was laying, a whole lot of slaves were standing around looking sad and hungry-eyed at that wasted meat. The master said, "What's wrong with him?" They said, "Mallitis." And they acted like they didn't want to touch them hogs. And old master said, "Well, scald them and cut them up anyway, because that's all the meat we're going to have for the winter." Now, old master wasn't about to eat them hogs himself. They had mallitis, and he was scared. So he gave them to the slaves to eat. But the slaves didn't mind. Well, they know what mallitis was. Early that morning, one of the biggest of them had skidded up to the hog pen and knocked each one of them hogs dead in the center of his head with a great big old mallet. And that's how them hogs caught mallitis. And that's how all the slaves had their belly full of pork that winter, and old master didn't have none.
Wow.
The Egyptians are not African. I'm sorry.
Do you know where Egypt is?
Yes, it's in
Where?
North Africa.
Okay, stop. Stop right there. You just said
that you said the Egyptians are not African.
White South Africa.
Wait. Yes, they are African. See, okay, to be African means you come from the continent of Africa. So if you come from the continent of Africa, that's who you are. So that means you're an African. So and you know you do know. Do you also deny science that man originated from Africa, or do you say that's all science?
What are you talking about? I mean, what are you referring to?
I'm talking archaeology. I'm talking biology. I'm talking science. In terms of the where did man originate? Where scientists? Why scientists?
Egypt was an amazing civilization.
No,
it was not created by black Africans. I'm sorry.
It wasn't. Who created it?
People who are white.
How are people?
You can look actually look at art, and they differentiate between races.
I got to ask you a question. How do you
from ancient Egyptian art?
You do know those were black people. You do know. You do know from science you can't get black from white. You can get white from black. You do know when it comes to evolution. When it comes.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Do you never studied science?
I see what you're. Yes, I have.
No, so but
I mean I'm not a scientist.
But man originated in Africa. Yes or no?
That is a consensus. Yes.
Okay. So if man originated in Africa, which means that they were Africans, then all of a sudden, when you talk about the amazing works of the Egyptians, they were people of color. I know that's a little rough for you to handle. I know you want to hold on to that, somehow thinking whites built the pyramids, but I'm trying to understand.
Yeah, we did.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Because first of all, they were building things in Egypt while white Europeans were still in caves. That's a fact.
That's
a fact. Okay,
sure.
Oh my goodness, watch this 9-year-old destroy Trump's GOP so quickly at a town hall. Take a look.
I wanted to represent the youth because what's happening now could change our futures. And what President Trump is doing and is threatening to do is frightening. Wow. Parents and teachers are talking about a lot of things that we don't know about. But unlike some people, we know the meaning of the Declaration of Independence. Come on. We all saw the video talking about low IQ.
He's funny. Babe.
All jokes aside, as you can see, my mom is oxygen dependent, as she has been for more than 5 years due to COVID pneumonia in both lungs since March of 2020. And without Social Security, my mom and I would not be able to survive. My grandmother, who is turning 98 years old on May 15th, would not be able to survive. My brother Kyle, who is a Marine, when he becomes a veteran, he is entitled to veteran benefits. Amen. And without those, he wouldn't be able to survive. Cuts to Social Security, cuts to Medicaid, cuts to veteran benefits, and cuts to education hurt my mom, my grandmother, my brother, and me, my whole family. So I'm asking you, and especially you, Miss Tish, because we in New York, what can you do to help me? I know you're all lawyers, right? I know you fight. Just keep fighting. Thank you all for your time.